Her story is our story. I pledge my support to eliminate all forms of violence against women and girls.
Young girls should be in school, so we must strive to end child marriage.
Women's rights are human rights.
I believe that gender-based violence must stop. Full stop.
To end violence against women and girls, we must end gender inequality and discrimination.
We can no longer watch in silence. The time to take action is now.
We must all come together with one voice to end gender-based violence.
I think we all need to raise the awareness around domestic violence, child abuse, and sexual assault.
I believe that individually and collectively we can come together and change her story.
As an EU gender champion, I want to urge you all to please support the global campaign to stop all forms of gender-based violence.
We must address the misconception that violence against women is often provoked by the victim.
You too can take a stand. Pledge your support.
had mentioned earlier that my name is Helen Michaels, and I'm standing in for Mosaics Obakolo, who will be joining us shortly. While we are doing that, please, can we still continue to maintain social distancing, have your hands sanitized, and if possible, wear a face mask. Thank you. What actually is happening today is the formal launching of the Edo State Sexual Offender and Social Provider Database, and the launching of the Edo State Sexual Assault Referral Center, as you can see behind me. So it is a very auspicious occasion and very timely. My mistake, it's service provider database. Service provider database. Comprising of registers of sexual offenders and register for service provider. So we have the registers that have a detailed compilation of names of sexual offenders, and then the register for social providers. Yes, but they also told me that this is sexual offender and service provider database. Okay, sexual offender. Okay. Hold on. Sexual offender and service provider registers. A little correction there again. It's a formal launching of the Edo State Sexual Offender and Service Provider Registers. And of course, the Edo State, the first of its kind, the Edo State Sexual Assault Referral Center. We have in our midst Mrs. Josephine Iyoma Aneni, former Minister for Women Affairs, gracing this occasion with us this morning. Thank you, ma'am. A round of applause for Mrs. Aneni, the former Minister for Women Affairs, please. Please, it's well deserving. Thank you. Thank you. Just to further stress it, we say today is the formal launch of the Edo Sexual Offender and Service Provider Database. It actually has two registers. One is a Sexual Offender Register, and the second is the Service Provider Register. And also, we're going to be launching the first in Edo State, the Sexual Assault Referral Center. That's where we are right now. The governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Nondegas Obaseki, will be joining us soon. I encourage us to be seated and properly coordinated. Thank you. We are admonished also to please compile your questions. It will be required when we get to the questions and answer section. You're welcome. The name of this center is actually Vivian Center, and this is supposed to be Mr. and Mrs. Speaker, who is the father and mother of Vivian. Yes. To further immortalize the personality of a young lady who refused to be sexually assaulted, and consequently she was murdered. So the name was adopted to remember her. You know, I think it was the proper thing to do. And this center is supposed to serve as a care center where you can get your support and care, and then have you rehabilitated, and some just check out of life when you have situations like this. I've had some friends in their childhood days who have experienced sexual assaults, and there was no one to talk to, no one to help them get back on track. So this is a very welcome development to help people who have had situations of several sexual assaults and gender-based violence to have a sense of hope and belonging. And we're hoping that we're going to have more centers like this established in different government hospitals right across the state. Edo State has been doing well, and especially under the leadership of our able governor, Mr. Obaseki Godwin Noregase, who is a doable governor. We actually have been so fast if you compare it with other states of the federations. It's a very laudable development. My senior colleague has just come to help me. I was almost fainting. Now I have the person of Moses Obakpolo. A round of applause for him. This is.
We must start dot. Shall we put it at 10:30? Yes. We start dot 10:30.
Hold on. I'm going to hand over for a while to my senior colleague. Okay. I was talking about the Vivian Referral Center, and just then the parents of the victim just walked in. The presence of Mr. and Mrs. Peter Ogu. Please, can you stand up for recognition? A round of applause for these courageous people. Very, very courageous. We celebrate you, sir. We celebrate you. Okay. Another personality just walked in, and the person of Dr. Wisin Akiwu. He is the retired AIG. Please, can we make welcome? Thank you, sir. Thank you. This is the formal launch of the Edo Sexual Offender and Service Provider Database, the first of its kind in Edo State, and also the launch of the Edo State Sexual Assault Referral Center. You're welcome once again. I've also been told that in order to continue to maintain the social distancing order, please, this place is a little bit choked. You can just bear with us. We need to rearrange chairs. On this side, we need to have like 5, a nice spacing between, so we can have a proper spread. Please bear with us. We have 5 on this side. 5 lines on this side and 5 on the other side, please. Thank you for your cooperation.
Okafo Bebu. His offer is generous. Think of what this will do for your family in this COVID-19 time. You know, he didn't mean it.
He did not mean it. The 13 slaps that he showered on me before he pushed me down, he did not mean to tear off my dress. Where were you when he was threatening my life? Where are you now, trying to silence me with money? If the chance is that your daughters will be in my position, I ask you, where will you be then?
We must take responsibility to ensure that the women in our lives feel safe, valued, and secured everywhere. There must be no sacred cows in the protection of our vulnerable ones.
This message is from Women's Right Advancement and Protection Alternative in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and other partners with support from MacArthur Foundation.
all forms of violence against women and girls.
Young girls should be in school, so we must strive to end child marriage.
Women's rights are human rights.
I believe that gender-based violence must stop. Full stop.
To end violence against women and girls, we must end gender inequality and discrimination.
We can no longer watch in silence. The time to take action is now.
We must all come together with one voice to end gender-based violence.
I think we all need to raise the awareness around domestic violence, child abuse, and sexual assault.
I believe that individually and collectively, we can come together and change her story.
As an EU gender champion, I want to urge you all to please support the global campaign to stop all forms of gender-based violence.
We must address the misconception that violence against women is often provoked by the victim.
You too can take a stand. Pledge your support to fight against gender-based violence.
Equality is the future, and we leave no one behind.
Join the global campaign
to end all forms of violence.
Thank you for being part of this very, very great occasion, which is a concern for everyone. especially across the globe. What we are here today to address is an issue that has been lingering in the world of medicine. They call it a pandemic, but this is an issue that has been endemic, and of course, I can see that the population of attendees here are 80% women because they are the most vulnerable for this vice of society and have been mostly affected. I must thank all the stakeholders who have come together to say this must stop. Especially if you listen to the advert going around all the media by Her Excellency Mrs. Bessie Obaseki, that the violence against women must stop, especially sexual offenses. In those days, we go away with them, but now Edo has come out in full force, in the open, without any hesitation, to say, yes, this global scourge, which is rendering women psychologically, mentally, and morally, debased, is going to be wiped out from our society. In time past, when this offense was done, the traditional society had a way to expose the offenders, but as civilization came, it was swept across and hidden under the carpet because they tell, okay, anything goes. But anything cannot go in Edo State. So I'd like to inform you that Edo State is the first to have a register of sexual offenders and service providers. You know the implication of that? Rapists don't show their faces in the public. It is done in the secret. And so when you expose the offenders, it will serve as a deterrent for those who have it in mind. So can we put our hands together for our dear state for taking the lead always? And I'd like to tell you that it is no longer an issue that can be handled by one sector of our population. It is a concerted effort of everyone. The Ministry of Justice is there. Edo State, in a wider spectrum, is there. The local government councils are there. The federal government of Nigeria is there. In fact, they gave the impetus for what is happening today. But Edo is the first to actuate, to actualize the legislation by the federal government. And Edo State gave it a local vent in legislation to make sure that it is happening today. And what is very apt is that the event today is happening at the very center of one of the martyrs of this particular vice, which we are here to wipe out. I'm talking about Vivian Ugu, who over 10 years ago resisted the attempt to be raped. And in the course of doing that, she lost her life. This center is to immortalize her. And we begin to say, now, may her kind and gentle soul rest in peace, and her spirit continue to fight sexual offenders globally. Can I hear amen? Thank you so much. We have our great mommy here, and anywhere she is, she's an encourager. Her aura, gives the kind of exciting support that will make this occasion great. I'm talking about Iyon, Josephine, and Nene. You're welcome, mommy. Thank you so much. I'd like to also welcome the very distinguished, dynamic, and in fact, I call her a woman who has everything it takes to do the job of justice. Let's welcome the Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General, Edo State, Professor Mrs. Yinka Omorogbe. She's here with us. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let us also welcome Reverend Father Dr. Fidelis Areto, Executive Director, Uromi. I'm sure this is JDPCR. Please, a round of applause. We'd like to welcome every other person. My Lord, the Chief Judge, I'm sorry for breaching protocol. The mask is always a problem for us. We're sorry, ma'am. My Lord, the Chief Judge is here. Please, a round of applause.
Hello. Hello. Test the microphone. Hello. Hello.
Thank you so much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to inform you that this program is being streamed live, especially in all the media and particularly on social media. And over hundreds of thousands of people are right now making their comments and commending this great occasion. And so you should be proud to be part of it. I'd like to welcome especially Honorable Justice M.N. Asemota, representing the Chief Judge of Edo State, Honorable Justice E.A. Edigi. Please, a round of applause. A round of applause. Also here with us, Dr. Wilson Ahu, an AIG retired. You're welcome, sir. Please, a round of applause. Ah, sir, you shouldn't have retired. You are still very gallant. Thank you so much. And I'd like to also tell you that between yesterday and today, over 500 people have registered for this project. And of course, they are part of it right now. Thank you so much. Yes, we are here to stamp out sexual offenders. And of course, we are here to give more force to those who are going to help in stamping this scourge out. So I'd like to tell you a story. In the olden days, in the Bible, only sane people were allowed to live in the society. Those who do the other vices, which are abnormal, a misnomer, they are given some psychotic, stigmas. Because to do rape, you must have 1 or 2 knots loosened. True or false? A normal person will not attempt rape. And you can find that these days, it's done with reckless abandon. But the cry over it now has reached its crescendo by this launch of this center. This is a referral center, and all issues related to sexual offenses and the rehabilitation of the victims will be addressed. You know, I'm a very, very local man, very traditional. When you have a fowl and the fowl is shouting, the hawk is here, it attracts the attention of the owner. And the owner comes out to begin to shout. And when the hawk hears the human voice, what does the hawk do? It runs away. That's what we are doing here now. The victims of sexual violence, rape, harassment, they have been shouting on their own. But now, all the forces are coming together. And just like the broom, as a bunch, we will be able to break them by the grace of God. Amen. Thank you so much. I'd like us to have a brief spell of music, and then we shall come back. But be very sure that you are in a very good atmosphere, because what we are doing here is something wonderful that will move society towards a peaceful coexistence. Thank you so much.
His offer is generous. Think of what this will do for your family in this COVID-19 time. You know, he didn't mean it.
He did not mean it. The
is with us right now, live on Zoom. Thank you so much. Also here is Princess Idonije of the Women Affairs, also live on Zoom. Please, a round of applause. And here, part of this support group is the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. Well done for a very good job. Thank you so much. And I'd like to say in my own comment, observatory, why do we have to direct all the violence against women? Over 10 years ago, the World Health Organization, United Nations, they placed it in their records that of the world's poor, 70% are women. And of course, of those who do many jobs across the globe, about 60% of them are women. And when education came to our part of the world, women were prevented from attending schools. Again, this sexual violence is directed at women, especially. It's very rare to hear that women have raped a man. True or false? So this trend must stop, not change. Because I won't say it will change to women, violating men. It must stop. And we must all agree here and now that it will stop. And it will stop because this effort will not be in vain. I'd like to also inform you that Princess Idonije of the Women Affairs will speak later on this issue we are here to talk about. Thank you so much. She is a technical advisor. And the new NBA chairman, congratulations, sir, of the Benin branch, Pius Oiwo Esquire, is here with us. Please, a round of applause for the NBA chairman. I put it to you, sir, that you are welcome. Thank you.
We are going to take the national anthem very shortly. But before then, let's mention it again that this is a formal launch of the Edo State Sexual Offender and Service Provider Database. The first of its kind, and Edo State is in forefront of pursuing, and we are actually attacking it robustly to ensure that we curtail and check the prevalence of sexual-based and gender-based sexual assaults and general violence. Yes, I did. Yes, we did. We also said that the parents of Vivian, whose name is being immortalized here in this referral center, is here. The person of Mr. Peter and Mrs. Peter Ogu, please. They're standing right there. Can we make a round welcome for them? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dr. Roslyn Okosun, SA Post-Primary Education Board, is here with us. I tell you, this program is it's a very apt program, and people are actually angry at the rate of sexual abuses and sexual exploitations in our society, ranging from child molestation, rape, and all other sexual crimes. And we are in the forefront of we are going to stop it. It's going to stop. Let's not say it's not possible to stop. If we have the will, there will always be a way. It is very needful to mention that Edo State is the first to have its database link to NAPTIP. Very, very important. You can check it out on their website. You see us there. Among all the states in Edo State, among all the states in Nigeria, Edo State is in the forefront of having a well-organized database concerning sexual assaults and database violence. The former AIG retired Wilson Akiwu, we mentioned earlier, it's here with us, and he's a consultant forensic pathology and chairman SAC Management Committee. I don't know if I mentioned it, we have stakeholders in this move, in this campaign. We have the Ministry of Justice, we have the Ministry of Education, and we have the social development and gender issues involved in this campaign. It is a zero tolerance for Edo State. We are going to, we are determined to check in this vice. Please, if it is possible, can you just try and have your hands sanitized? Again, you can kindly just stand up and then sanitize your hands and make sure you continue to maintain social distancing. The coronavirus is still very much out there. I mentioned earlier that we're going to have it so easy. Let's not be so uptight. I'm not a very serious person. I don't know why they put me here. We all just crack jokes and smile. I've had rice this morning. I hope you had breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day. And then, you know, just have water and have some laugh, make somebody smile. There's nothing too serious we should take about life. It's just so as easy as that. We still await the presence of our executive governor, Mr. Godwin Ogegase Obaseki. He will be joining us soon. Okay, you can actually tweet using this hashtag on screen. I've just been informed. You can get it, it's online. We have a website. You can get everything we're doing today on our website. Okay.
You can tell them to tweet it. You can tweet it. on the screen. The hashtags are on the screen.
Okay.
So you can tweet. You can while we're still waiting.
Okay. While we are waiting, you can actually tweet. You know, it's you can tweet right now to get whatever information.
I think we can give time to the Zoom people. Maybe one of the person on Zoom to talk about it.
Secretary, Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issues. Okay. Ms. Pastor, Mrs. Dorcas, Ide. Okay.
We have the honor of the presence of the permanent secretary. Okay. I'm told that the governor is here. He has come to grace this occasion for us. I was saying that the permanent secretary, Minister of Social Development and Gender Issue, Pastor Mrs. Dorcas Idehe is here with us. Can we recognize her, please? Thank you. Thank you. Handed a note, the barrister, Mrs. Stella Aigbe, SSA to the governor on gender issues, is here. A round of applause, please. Then Mrs. Omo Ogrieva, FIDA, the chairperson of FIDA, is here. Mrs. Omo Ogrieva. Can we put our hands together, please? Clapping is also an exercise of the hand. That's what I'm told. Sorry? Okay, he's the chief. Okay. He's Moses. His Excellency, the Governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Nogegase Obaseki, is actually the host of this event. We had mentioned earlier that this is an intervention to tackle the problem of sexual assault and gender-based violence. It is a zero tolerance for Edo State. It should be a zero tolerance for Nigeria and globally. Mrs. Ijoma Odwa, Zona Commander NAPTIP, Benin Command, is here with us. Please, can we give a round of applause? Thank you. The African Women Lawyers Association, OLA, Edo State chapter, have their representatives here. Can we recognize them, please? A round of applause would do. Thank you. Thank you. I was saying earlier that I had a story while I was growing up of a little girl who was molested, and then she just checked out of life because there was no one to talk to, and it was a time where you can't say that kind of story. You consider it a shame, you consider it a disgrace, and most times our parents, in my little time period of growing up, they just quarrel with you as if everything is your fault. But now we have been able to get to that realization that it's not always the victim or the survivor's fault. You know, some people are just I don't know whether to call it mental disorder, but they just want to do something. Sometimes they can't explain why they do it. So this time, we want to use it as an opportunity to sensitize people, like while you try to be in safe places, then when it happens, there's a place to run to. And that's why we are introducing the Edo State the Referral Center, where you can actually run to for help and seek redress. Okay. Okay.
Hold on first, let me just tell you. Zoom will come up. There's somebody, Dr. Amina, will introduce the people on Zoom, which includes the Federal Minister of Women Affairs and some EU and some other, so she'll introduce them on Zoom.
We do our own introduction before we go over to Benin to do a formal introduction. My sister Priscilla, can I also ask for your help in this direction? Dr. Fatima Waziri, thanks for joining us. I can see you're also on the call from the Office of Vice President.
We have Laolu Olaumi from the European Union as well on the call. And Mr. Danla Diplan, the National Program Manager for RULAC, is also on the call.
Thank you. I think Ladi's name was given to Edo and they recognized him earlier. We'll do that as well. I just want to be sure that we are connected to Edo now. Excellent. I think we are. Good morning, distinguished Nigerians and friends of Nigeria and Edo-lites. We're speaking to you from Abuja and via Zoom. Technology has linked the entire world, and this issue is extremely important to everyone. It should be a zero tolerance against sexual and gender-based violence. I would like to do a first round of introduction so you know the distinguished Nigerians and friends of Nigeria that are on the call, in addition to those who have joined by YouTube, but also to enable us test our Zoom tool so that when colleagues come to speak, we'll be sure that we're very linked to Edo. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the Honorable Minister for Women Affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, whose voice you heard on the clip earlier against sexual and gender-based violence, Dame Pauline Tali.
She's very ably represented this morning by the Senior Special Assistant to the Minister, my sister, Princess Jumai Idonije. We have with us also online Ella Duplang, who is the National Program Manager for the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program of the EU, has also joined us, along with Barrister Priscilla Ankut, Component Manager for ROLAC. And as we find a few more distinguished colleagues and Nigerians join us, who will introduce them. Earlier, I welcomed my sister, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi from the Office of the Vice President. And we will continue to receive and welcome colleagues. I know I said Laulu Olawi, but I see Laulu Olawumi as the name here. So I hope the name I gave is correct. Welcome, Professor Agatha Eguavon. Thank you for joining us this morning. And back to you in Benin City. My name is Amina Salihu.
For Bebu. His offer is generous. Think of what this will do for your family in this COVID-19 time. You know, he didn't mean it.
He did not mean it. The 13 slaps that he showered on me before he pushed me down, he did not mean to tear off my dress. Where were you when he was threatening my life? Where are you now, trying to silence me with money? If the chance is that your daughters will be in my position, I ask you, where will you be then?
We must take responsibility to ensure that the women in our lives feel safe, valued, and secured everywhere. There must be no sacred cows in the protection of our vulnerable ones.
This message is from Women's Right Advancement and Protection Alternative in partnership with the Federal Ministry.
Story. I pledge my support to eliminate all forms of violence against women and girls.
Young girls should be in school, so we must strive to end child marriage.
Women's rights are human rights.
I believe that gender-based violence must stop. Full stop.
To end violence against women and girls, we must end gender inequality and discrimination.
We can no longer watch in silence. The time to take action is now.
We must all come together with one voice to end gender-based violence.
I think we all need to raise the awareness around domestic violence, child abuse, and sexual assault.
I believe that individually and collectively, we can come together and change her story.
As an EU gender champion, I want to urge you all to please support the global campaign to stop all forms of gender-based violence.
We must address the misconception that violence against women is often provoked by the victim.
You too can take a stand. Pledge your support to fight against gender-based violence.
Equality is the future, and we leave no one behind.
Join the global campaign
to end all forms of violence
against women and girls.
No more watching in silence.
We must take action now. I pledge my support.
Please pledge your support. We can all contribute, because at the end of the day, her story is our story. I pledge my support.
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 And I pledge my support.
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 And I pledge my support.
We pledge our support.
Her Excellency is here, Mr. Godwin Noregase Obaseki. Her Excellency, sorry, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki is here. Can we just stand, please?
Let us rise for Her Excellency, the woman with the heart of gold. Please put our hands together for our very, very distinguished great mother. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. She's one of the powerful forces behind what we are here to stamp out. She has lent her voice, and globally, the event is there, and continuing, she is also making effort in higher ranks to make sure that sexual violence is wiped out of the globe. Please, a round of applause for Her Excellency. When we are thinking of great women across Nigeria, what comes to mind in names and personality are the likes of Idia, Queen Mother of Benin, the likes of Moremi, the likes of Amina of Zauzau, and all that. And here in our own world, we have Her Excellency, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki. Thank you so much, ma. Please, a round of applause. A round of applause. Your Excellency, the First Lady of our dear state, I'm sure you people don't know that this is the extraordinary First Lady of the extraordinary people of Edo State. Please, a round of applause. A round of applause. Your footprints have been etched not on the sands of time, but carved in stone. Generations will remember that there was a First Lady in Edo State where things happened. Please, a round of applause. I'd like to say there's a short story of grace and redemption, and Miss Esoe Uwigbe Esquire, Secretary Edo State Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Response Team, should please get ready for that item on the program. All right, they are coming out right away. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Let's give them a round of applause.
What do you call a place? A place that drowns her children with her breath, takes her daughters in her hands and feeds them to beasts, lets them ravage their fragile body till they become nothing but their trauma. We do not want a place that hurts like death, kills its sons and daughters, rapes our children with depraved hands. We do not want a place always clouded with smoke. We do not want to be the ones smelling like fire. We do not want to watch our children carry placards in their hands with tears like pain on their cheeks, their lips parched from wailing and screaming, "No justice, no peace." Our children should never have to walk the streets of their home with uncertainty hugging their feet. They are the ones our fathers died for. We fought for. They shouldn't have to demand for peace. Demand for peace. Demand for peace, for safety. They shouldn't have to carry the spirits of victims on their backs crying for justice. They shouldn't have to relieve their trauma in the darkness of their palms. They shouldn't have to bury their pain in the pits of their bellies. They shouldn't have to live in fear. Live in fear and the torment of how the system fails them every time they watch the real monsters walk free. So we raise our voices today. We call for a stand. We demand justice. We demand peace. We do not want our children's bodies to be snatched from safety. We do not want to scrub their blood off the memory of a heinous crime. A tragedy story where a mother doesn't have to pray for sons, so she doesn't have to live in the fear of her daughter's body mangled by depraved men. Where the bodies of our children does not have to feel like a curse, a death sentence. We are tired of singing with voices mumbled with brokenness, with cracks and aches of pain and dread. We are tired of taking to the streets, with placards in our hands, with sorrow in our voices. So today, we will shout. We will clamor. We will not stay silent. We will sing even in the midnight hour. We will sing no justice, no peace. We will sing till this song becomes a tale by moonlight we tell to our children of what used to be. I'm coming, sorry.
Welcome to the Edo State Sexual Offender and Service Provider Registers. The Sexual Offender Register is a documentation of reported, arraigned, or convicted cases of sex violations or abuse. It enables bodies such as schools and hospitals, corporate agencies, and government bodies to conduct background checks, and it will deter sex offenders because they will know their name will be published, affecting their employment and role in society. On the website, you can search for service providers, report a case, check background, view arraigned and convicted cases, browse other states and check for related information. To report a case, 1. Go to the website. 2. Click on Report Incident. 3. Fill in the information and send. To do a background check, 1. Click on Background Check on the top menu. 2. Click on Arraigned Cases or Convicted Cases and a search by name or location. To view all the convicted cases in Nigeria, 1. Go to nsod.naptip.gov.ng. 2. Click on the red button in the middle and view the list. Conducting background checks on convicted sexual offenders will be easy since their information is readily available in the search register, which helps you search convicted cases by name or location. the Edo State Sexual Offender and Service Provider registers, perpetrators no longer have a place to hide.
I was going to take off my suit because it was beginning to affect my brain. I hope you forgive me. I am okay now. Okay, the Commissioner for Social Development and Gender Issues, Barrister Mrs. Marie Edeko, came with the governor's wife. Please, can we make a round welcome for her? Thank you. You're welcome, ma'am. Okay.
The group that just performed, so they actually work directly with the Commissioner for Justice. SO is the Secretary Sexual Response Team, and the others are go-getters. So let them clap for them again.
The group that just performed, they actually work for the sexual response team and other go-getters. Can we just please appreciate them with our hands? Let us encourage them, please. Thank you. We have with us Mrs. Priscilla Usiobaifo, representing SPAC Service, a service provider, accountability resource community, Edo State. I am actually told that she just does this. She's known nationally. She just goes about in the move to stopping this crime, this detriment to somebody's psychology. I told you before that people who have experienced sexual assault, sometimes some of them don't come out of it, they don't get healed. But this woman has been known to be in the forefront to talk about it and representing some survivors and even relatives of victims. Can we just recognize her, Mrs. Priscilla Usiobaifo, please? Okay, she'll be speaking with us soon. She will talk with us. We really want to hear from her. I want to know her, what moves her, her drives, and what her target is. Though we know, but we want to know what she's doing extraordinary things, and we want to copy from her. She's exemplary. Can we just give our hands together for her, please? Thank you. Well, it's not even on the. They said we're going to take the national anthem.
Doctor must come before the national anthem. You mean before? What can we do now?
Okay, let's do the ladies.
Yes, so let her talk and then any other one.
Okay, the lady.
Yes, no, any other ones. Ask them who are the people giving the good one.
Okay, right about now, we want to call on some of the organizers and the representatives of this movement, this program, to speak while we await the arrival of the governor of Edo State. Please. Or we'll call on Mrs. Priscilla Usiobaifo. I want to hear from that lady, please. Mrs. Usiobaifo, please, can you just speak with us for maybe 2 minutes? Yes.
I think so. Let us ask her. She's here now.
That's her.
You're talking on behalf of SPAC. Are you talking on behalf of SPAC? They need to decide what.
Her Excellency, the First Lady of Edo State, Mrs. Betsy Obatseki, it's an honor to see you. I have not seen you before. This is my first time. It's an honor, and I've always admired you from afar. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of Edo State, my Lord the Chief Judge, ably represented, the Honorable Commissioner for Justice, and of course our very great mother, Iyom Josephine Anene. All other protocol duly and respectfully observed. I'd like to take the goodwill messages, and first will be the Chief Judge of Edo State, and will be speaking on rule of law and anti-corruption program. Please can you hear a round of applause? I'd like to plead that we have just 2 minutes. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of Edo State, I don't have a list of protocol, but I'll recognize the Honorable Attorney General, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This is a goodwill message by the Honorable Chief Judge of Edo State, Honorable Justice Esther A. Edigin, on the occasion of the launch of Edo State Sexual Offender Database and Sexual Assault Referral Center, Vivian Center, on Tuesday, 15th day of September 2020. The establishment and launch of Edo State Sexual Offender Database and Sexual Assault Referral Center, Vivian Center, is timely, especially with the rise in sexual and gender-based violence in Edo State. Sexual assault encompasses a range of acts, including rape, sexual harassment, including demands of sex for jobs or school grades, marks, defilement of children, trafficking of women and girls, date rape, female genital mutilation, and forced exposure to pornography. Sexual assault is not discriminatory as it affects both males and females, but studies have shown that the number of female sexual assault victims is far greater than male victims. The situation became exacerbated in Nigeria, and in particular, Edo State with the lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which led to many deaths as a result of sexual assault. The establishment of the Sexual Assault Referral Center and Sexual Offender Database in Edo State is a welcome development and will help to provide specialist medical and forensic services to anyone who has been raped or sexually assaulted. Their services will be free of charge and provided to women, men, young persons, and children, thereby making it easily accessible to all. The Sexual Assault Referral Center will provide free medical counseling and support services to survivors of sexual violence. The Sexual Offender Database is a one-stop solution to reporting and curbing sexual offenses because the aim of the new database is to name and shame sexual abusers and offenders. Conducting background checks on convicted offenders will be easy since their information will be already available in the search register, which helps you search convicted cases by name or location. I encourage civil society organizations and the media to embark on public enlightenment to heighten awareness in the fight against rape and sexual violence in Edo State. There is no doubt that public enlightenment is a critical tool in changing behavior, attitude, belief, and value system, which will in turn demystify the myths about sexual assault. On this note, I say kudos to all stakeholders who work tirelessly to ensure that the establishment and launching of the Sexual Offenders Database and Sexual Assault Referral Center is a reality today. I also thank the Edo State government for spearheading these initiatives. I thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much, representative of my Lord, the Chief Judge. Thank you so much. We actually said 2 minutes. You were prompt. You did 1 minute, 57 seconds. Please, a round of applause. We're going to follow that cue on goodwill messages. Your Excellency, permit me to also invite the one to speak on the National Agency for Trafficking, for the prohibition of trafficking in persons. Please, the names are not here. If you are the one to speak, you are the speaker, please just let us know. Are you ma? Mrs. Ijoma Udua. Please, a round of applause. A round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Her Excellency, the First Lady of Edo State, other dignitaries here present, please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. A goodwill message by the Director, NAPTIP, Julie Oka Donley, during the formal launch of Edo State Sexual Offender and Service Providers Register. Today, the 16th September 2020. You all can agree with me that a rapist is worse than an animal. He has no moral rectitude. He throws aboard the limits of his legal rights and can shamelessly deprive another person, more painfully female children or underage, of their God-given rights of protecting their chastity, purity, and sanctity. He has no respect for human beings. He can commit any atrocity. He is a cancer in the society. What a shame. Sexual violence against children and women is a sad reality in Nigeria. The rate of gender-based violence during the recent lockdown was very alarming. In this light, the Nigerian governors have declared state of emergency over rape. They even agreed to fund the program that will tackle this menace in the country. We thank the Edo State government for the public presentation of these registers today. Amidst the campaign, the busy schedule, they are still working. We also thank ROLAC for their support, because the introduction of these sexual offenders and service providers register will implement the VAP Act and other law geared towards the protection of the girl and women. Again, with the sexual offenders register, perpetrator of sexual and gender-based violence will be named and shamed, while the service providers register will facilitate the easy access of information peculiar to each service provider. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, is a custodian of the database. As a custodian of the database, I assure you that the needful will be done with your collaboration. The numbers of the prosecution remain low as victims or parents do not report cases to avoid being stigmatized. It is expected that the outcome of this database will be an active register for convicted sexual offenders, report of sexual offenses, and their legal status, which will, in the long run, serve as an essential safety tool to that which would enable the public and law enforcement agencies to make informed decisions about persons whose names are in this register. So with this register, there is no hiding place for perpetrators. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please, can we hear a round of applause for her? And I think the spirit of brevity is winning today. Next is our sister Melissa Omene. She's going to talk on rule of law and anti-corruption program again. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency, my Lord, Honorable Commissioners, Your Excellency, my Lord, Honorable Commissioners, and distinguished participants. Please permit me to stand on existing protocols. It's with great pleasure that I, on behalf of the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program, ROLAC, stand here today with the government and people of Edo State to acknowledge the lives of the countless young women and children who died at the hands of violent rapists, and yet more young women and children who have survived sexual violence forced upon them. Vivian Ogu, Uwela Omozua, Hawa Sule, Hawa Sule. Your lives matter, your lives mattered, your lives continue to matter. The establishment of the Vivian Sexual Assault Referral Center, otherwise known as SARC or Vivian Center, and the Edo State Sexual Offender and Service Provider Registers are in somber honor of your lives, so others don't have to go through what you went through. It is our hope that with the successful launch of these important initiatives today, other vulnerable persons will have access to the best health, legal, and social services through the SARC and Service Provider Register. It is our hope that with this launch, there will be no hiding place for perpetrators of sexual violence in Edo State through the Sexual Offender Register. In some foreign jurisdictions, registered sex offenders are subjected to additional restrictions in areas such as employment, housing, social media, and more. While this is not currently the case in Nigeria, we do hope that the registers will provide the general public with the necessary information to put in place their own protective measures, such as ensuring that anybody who applies for a job such as a teacher or other position of power among vulnerable groups does not have a history of sexual violence. The ROLAC program, which is funded by the European Union and implemented by British Council, has helped state governments across Nigeria to establish or support 22 SARCs, which have tended to the needs of 13,075 clients as at June 2020, and have resulted in increased convictions. We also supported the National Agency for the Prevention of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, to establish the Sexual Offender and Service Provider Database, which was launched earlier this year. We have seen the good that can be achieved in the fight for justice and security through these vital initiatives. We therefore wish to congratulate the Edo State government, particularly the Ministries of Justice, Social Development and Gender Issues, and Health, for taking the bold steps of introducing these interlinked but independently mighty projects that each focus on coordinated support and protection of women and children. We also wish the best of luck to the Edo State government and other stakeholders, including the Nigeria Police Force and civil society, as you embark on this new journey. We take this opportunity to acknowledge our partners, NAPTIP, the Federal Ministry of Budget and National Planning, ROLAC consultant Dr. Amina Saliu, the Federal Domestic Violence Coordinator, Mrs. Ene Ede, and the countless others who have contributed to these initiatives. We specially acknowledge the support of the European Union. Finally, to the survivors of sexual violence, we say, speak up, seek help. Your life matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's what we call deliberate advocacy. Can we give her another round of applause? Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a very brief journey to Abuja to take the message of the Honorable Minister, who is presently in council, but will be represented here. Please, can the rep of the Honorable Minister step forward for her message?
Your Excellency, the wife of the governor of Edo State, it is with a heart full of joy that I join you this morning virtually to launch the Edo Sexual Offender Database and the launch of the first ever Sexual Assault Reference Center, Vivian Center in Edo State. No doubt, COVID-19 pandemic has refined our rules of engagement. I will have to innovate to move with the tides. Today's event is very significant as it resonates in our mission of walking the talk as we dare to dream of a Nigeria fit for all. Gender-based violence remains one of the most serious threats to the health and safety of women and girls worldwide. The devastating consequences are felt at social, economic, and personal levels because of the grievous harm inflicted on victims. In spite of existing laws and policies on gender-based violence in Nigeria, such as the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015 and the Child Rights Act 2003, these vile acts still persist. The good news is that if we care, we can do something about it, because the story of one woman is the pain of all. The starting point of conversations around abuse is that it can indeed be prevented through the control of risk factors and swift interventions when any form of abuse occurs. This is why a coordinated action by different sectors within a formal mechanism is required to address the question of violence against women and girls. We recall that, that all the 36 state governors had unanimously declared a state of emergency in their respective states as an outcome of my participation at their virtual meeting on 10th June 2020, where I had briefed them of the unacceptable trends and patterns witnessed in the surge of rape cases and other gender-based violence which erupted across the country in the peak of the lockdown measures to curb COVID-19 pandemic. It is important to single out and commend Edo State for this proactive step, being one of the flashpoints where the gruesome deaths of Uwala and Mrs. Queen Igbinevo were reported during the lockdown. This would give credence to our demand for proper justice for survivors and victims. In this process of demanding justice and providing support for victims and survivors of gender-based violence, collaboration is key. Therefore, no one ministry, department, or agency has a monopoly of this register, but one organization must be the custodian, and that is NAPTIP at the federal level. I am therefore happy to note that the 3 agencies at the state level are doing a fantastic job in this collaborative effort. I therefore appeal to all stakeholders in this venture to work together to realize the goal. We can no longer afford to work in silos. You will all recall that as the fallout of my memo presented to the Federal Executive Council on 10th June 2020, Mr. President had directed the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation to inaugurate an interministerial gender-based violence management committee with my ministry as co-chair. In view of the legal implications of some of the content of the memo, such as prosecution, setting up of special courts, and other related matters. The committee is also made up of members of the CSO. At the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, we will continue to play the coordinating role as a national machinery for the advancement and promotion of the rights and well-being of women and children and other vulnerable populations, including women and children living with disability. This is why we are driving the advocacy for the domestication of VAP Act and Child Rights Act across the country, especially in the states yet to domesticate. It is important to stress that domestication alone is not enough. Implementation is very germane. We have also launched the National Gender-Based Violence Data Collection Tool with support from UNDP. It is the first of its kind to ease the debt of gender-based data in the country. Every partner and stakeholder should use the tool to collect and submit gender-based violence data to the ministry for uniformity, effective coordination, and planning. Once again, I congratulate His Excellency, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, the Governor of Edo State, and the very dynamic First Lady of the state, Her Excellency Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, on these giant strides. Despite the busy schedule of the campaign, they are able to support the process. Nigerian women and children salute you. I appreciate NAPTIP as custodians of the VAP Act for sustaining the momentum. To the consultants, Amina and Ene, I salute your commitment to this cause. I also appreciate EU-LAC, led by Priscilla Ankut, for complementing our efforts towards realizing Goal 5 of the SDGs. I also commend the Edo State Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General of Edo State for the realization of this project. I will not fail to appreciate the Commissioner of Women Affairs, who has always been proactive in reporting the progress and challenges in articulating our mandate. To all survivors and victims, we stand with you, in solidarity with you, today, tomorrow, and forever. God bless Edo State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless every one of us. Thank you for your attention.
That was Princess Juma Idonoje, the technical advisor for the Ministry of Women Affairs, for the Minister for Women Affairs, Her Excellency Dami Pauline Talent. Thank you so much. We also want to represent, make welcome the representatives of the Federation of Muslim Association, Barrister Sule Rukayat. Can we meet you, please? Thank you. She's right there. Can we give her a round of applause, please? Welcome. We're going to take a goodwill message from SPAC Edo, a representative of SPAC from Edo State. Thank you. That is Princess. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency, Ma, the Edo State First Lady, Your Lordship, Ma, our amiable and result-oriented Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Edo State, my dearest Commissioner for Social Development, civil society organizations and NGO colleagues, survivors and victims of sexual violence in this platform. I beg to stand on existing protocols. Today, I'm very excited to witness the launch of the Edo State Sex Offenders Directory and the Service Providers Accountability Resource Committee, SPAC. And as the Executive Director of Brave Heart Initiative, a leading champion of sexual and gender-based organization in Edo State. We are based at Igara, a rural community in Akoko Edo local government. This particular event is a historic event. I'd like to thank the Edo State government, the British Council under the ROLAC program, the Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Women, and every other partner that have contributed to this process. This day, I charge the Edo State government to invest adequately for the operationalization and the sustenance of these instruments. While we are all happy that we now have a sex offenders database, and we are also celebrating that we have a service provider register. For those of us that may not know the use of the register, if you are in Akpakpava, as a young woman, you are sexually violated, you'll be able to access that register online and physical copy to know the nearest place to go to access service. If you are in Ososo, in Akoko Edo local government, you'll be able to know where to access service. Same as Ira in Edo Central. If you are in Ira and you need service, that service providers register is detailed. It has collation of all service providers across the state and improves your access to service. But we know that just having them alone will not suffice. The funding, the human resource that is needed will need to be provided. And I also like to appeal that all of us in this work begin to prioritize SGBV programs that centralizes the rape survivor. Most often we have programs that does not centralize on the survivor herself. You implement a project in Edo State for 3 years, and you cannot point directly to the survivors that benefited from it. Beyond advocacy, lawmaking, we want to begin to see those ones that make direct impact on the lives of the survivors. Conclusively, I appeal to all citizens of Edo State to treat our rape survivors better. Please, let's learn to listen to survivors. Let's believe them. Let's give them a shoulder to lean on. And while I'm thanking the Nigerian police force for the work they've been doing so far, especially in the Wireless case, I would like to use this platform to appeal to them to show better empathy to survivors. When rape survivors are brought to the police station, our police officers can do better. They've been trained, they've been equipped, they've been provided with all the support that they need. But the human character that we need from the police, we need to see that whenever survivors are presented in the police stations, all across our police station. Because oftentimes, you just have the family courts, family unit in the state CID doing that. But we need to have it across every police post, every police division in Edo State. And I would like to beg, I don't know which of the ministry is going to be responsible, but I think we can all work together. So please, support the police. Invest in their investigative powers and capacities so that they have better funding to do the research, to do the detailed investigation that we anticipate in every case that is given to them. For us, as members of SPAC, the Service Providers Accountability Resource Committee that have been set up with under the Ministry of Justice, will pledge to continue to work with all stakeholders in this state. We'll continue to partner with each and every one of you to ensure that the lives of girls and women and children and everyone in this state is protected. I will continue to provide our services towards ending sexual violations in Edo State. I'd like to wrap up by demanding justice for Wyla. Yes, arrests have been made, but we want to seek justice in that case. I also like to demand justice for Abibat Shuru, a 7-year-old girl that was raped for ritualistic purposes in Akoko Edo and died as a process. Till date, we are not having any headway with the police on that investigation. So those 2 cases, please, I am demanding justice, as well as the numerous cases across the state. I thank you so much for this opportunity. My best wishes to each and every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We did say that she's fire. She just delivered it the way it is. Very direct. Okay. We have Dr. Patrick Okundia. We have Dr. Patrick Okundia, the Honorable Commissioner for Health, Edo State. We mentioned that there are stakeholders and ministries, line ministries that are interested or in collaboration with this commission. We have the Ministry of Health, we have the Ministry of Justice, and we have the Social Development and Gender Issues. So why we...
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency Ma, and other highly revered dignitaries, His Excellency, the wait-and-see governor. Like I told you, Her Excellency is the extraordinary First Lady of the extraordinary people of Edo State. The extraordinary governor of the extraordinary people is here. The governor who has caused a metamorphosis of development across the length and breadth of Edo State, spreading across all the senatorial districts and in equal proportion. The governor who always says, I am here for you. No more suffering in Edo State. Please put your hands together to welcome the greatest governor in Nigeria right now, His Excellency, Mr. Godwin Nogegase Obaseki. Please, let's have a thunderous applause. A thunderous applause. Thank you so much. I welcome Your Excellency. At this juncture, while we're still standing, we'll just play the national anthem.
All rise, all compatriots, Nigerians come all men to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes was joining on in to serve with heart and voice. One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Your Excellency, the Otoknadu local language now. So it can go down well with the people because a lot of people will not understand so much grammar. This is the governor. Something. able to do all of them, and none has been accepted. Please, can we give a round of applause for this very rare victor of our time, who has put the quixotic gods of underdevelopment to a decree. Please, a round of applause. And also for Our Excellency, who has given pride and dignity and hope for the women folk. Please, a round of applause for Our Excellency, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki. Your Excellencies, my Lord, the Chief Judge ably represented, our great mommy Iyom Josephine Aneni, other members of the Edo State Executive Council present here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take the women anthem. Please, the women anthem. If you have that assignment, please come quickly before we take other items on the program.
So many reasons. What I want to say is that because of his commitment and understanding, no, wait, because of his understanding, mutual understanding, and his determination.
More than one stanza of the
Yes,
or later. So let's do it now. He's going to go in 10 to 15 minutes.
Yes, yes. So please, you should talk about the commitment of the
We will do that.
the context of
One
this.
stanza, I would say that after we will do that.
Please, the women anthem, please.
Who is doing the women anthem?
Everybody will sing their program.
Who will lead this? I don't know.
Give it to Mrs. Aneni. Give it to Mrs. Aneni.
Thank you so much. We are privileged to have Iyom Josephine Aneni in the house. She's going to lead the women anthem. Please, a round of applause for her.
Only one stanza. Okay. All across the nation, all around the world, women are longing to be free. No longer in the shadows, forced to stay behind, but side by side in true equality. So sing a song for women everywhere. Let it ring around the world and never, never cease. So sing a song for women everywhere. Equality, development, and peace.
Thank you so much. That was the women anthem, and so beautifully done by Iyom Josephine Aneni. Your Excellencies, the Governor of Edo State and the First Lady, our very great mother, we are taking the first item after the song, and that will be the welcome to time of courage. And that will be done by the Honorable Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General Edo State, Professor Mrs. Yinka Omorogbe. Please, a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Noregase Obaseki, Her Excellency, the First Lady of Edo State, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, The Chief Judge of Edo State, the Honorable Esther Edigi, ably represented by Honorable Justice Asemuta. Very, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen here, I will stand on existing protocol. It is my deep pleasure to welcome you all to this groundbreaking ceremony to mark the launch of the Edo State Sexual Assault Referral Center, known as the Vivian Center, and also the Edo State Sexual Offender Register. The problem of sexual violence is a plague of international dimensions. It's unfortunately also prevalent in Nigeria. It has led to great trauma and death. And we have as a very recent and tragic example, Miss Vera Waila Omozuwa, who was tragically murdered. We also have another example of Miss Vivian Ogu, which occurred some time ago. We are happy and honored to have the parents of Miss Vivian Ogu here. She was raped and killed, and her perpetrators were never found. It remains an unsolved murder. In Edo State, we have decided not just to sorrow and to weep, but to take concrete steps to fight this evil by enshrining and establishing processes and solutions. The journey started in 2019 when the Rule of Law Advisory Team in the Office of the Vice President of Nigeria, ROLAT, in partnership with the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program, inaugurated the Edo State Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Response Team, with a mandate to put measures in place to ensure that survivors of SGBV are given all the care and support they need. We acknowledge their assistance very, very much, and I want to even particularly acknowledge the assistance of the EU. I know that the deputy, at the time, Richard, His Excellency Richard, was very, very instrumental, as was Bob Arnott, Dr. Bob Arnott of ROLAC, in ensuring that they came here. We have the mandate to ensure that people who suffer this are given the necessary care and support that they need. And this has led to today, with the launch of the Vivian Center, which is the first sexual assault referral center in Edo State, and the SOR, the Sexual Offender Register, which is the third sexual offender register amongst the states, and the first to be linked to the National Sexual Offender Directory, which is located in NAPTIP. The Vivian Center is a one-stop free clinic for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence, and is a safe environment where survivors are given all the care and support that they need. The services include medical examinations of survivors, screening, preventive treatment for HIV and other sexually transmitted infections, pregnancy prevention, collection of forensic evidence, screening for drugs where the use of stupefying substances is suspected, providing medical and legal support, and then investigation and prosecution of the cases. I want to stress this. When Priscilla was talking, she talked about ensuring that people assist to make sure that there's effective prosecution and investigation. I want to say that that is being done totally in Edo State. The investigation of the case of Waila, including the bills for the autopsy, the DNA, everything was fully supported by the Edo State government, and I want to specially thank His Excellency, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, for this great commitment. And this means that unlike the case that happened, I think, about 10 years ago, very tragically, perpetrators are still walking free. By the grace of God, in this case, it will not happen, because we have used modern techniques and there has been a full investigation. And we thank you again, Your Excellency. The Sexual Offender Register is a repository of offenders containing names and information about all persons who have been convicted or charged with rape and other sexual offenses. It will also contain information about organizations and persons that provide assistance to victims, as defined by the Edo State VAP Law 2018. The register will be made up of two parts: the Sexual Offender Database and the Service Providers Database. and will be linked to the national database. I thank the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption ROLAC for their immense support in establishing the Vivian Center. I want to also thank the Sexual Assault Referral Response Team, the Sexual Assault Referral Center Management Committee, the SPARC, the high-level multi-agency team, everyone for their incredible roles in bringing to life what we are now doing now and what we now know as the Vivian Center and the Edo State SOR. I thank Her Excellency Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, who has shown an uncommon commitment to the fight against SGBV, and who was instrumental to the passage of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law. Your Excellency, may God bless you both, Your Excellencies, and crown you with resounding victory and with the desires of your hearts. Amen. Amen. As you know, these projects would not be here without the intervention of the Edo State government under the administration of the Wait-and-See Governor, His Excellency Godwin Obaseki, who not only empathizes with survivors but matches words with actions as evidenced by this laudable project. I thank the Almighty God for the enablement to conceive and actualize this project. I thank you all, the stakeholders and staff of the Vivian Center, and everyone who has made this project successful. Without all of you, I would not be able to speak as I have done today, as the work we see today is built on hard work and teamwork. I head the team and I must set the tone, but the quality of our output depends on our collective activities and cooperation. I want to also acknowledge my fellow commissioners. The Commissioner of Health, you have been a partner, and you came here first when we even went to look around and are still assisting us. The Commissioner for Gender, thank you very much. Your counselors are an integral part of all that we are doing here. Without all of you, truly, our efforts are in vain. Once again, I welcome you all here present for this auspicious event. I particularly thank once more His Excellency, who has so many commitments and demands on his time at this moment, but things like this are very, very dear to his heart. So it is with confidence that I knew that he would surely squeeze in time to be able to come and grace this occasion. Thank you once more, Your Excellency. And I thank the Almighty God for the grace of a very successful opening ceremony. To God be the glory.
Can we hear a round of applause for that very beautiful speech by the Commissioner for Justice? Your Excellency, the Governor of Edo State, Your Excellency, the First Lady of Edo State, I want all of us to appreciate His Excellency's coming here today, in spite of the crowded program of activities, especially in this time of politicking. We are aware that at this particular time, His Excellency has very little time to spare, but because he has refused to play politics with serious, sensitive issues such as sexual violence, that is why he's here today on behalf of all other stakeholders. And that is why, emphatically, he has taken the lead to provide the first referral center in the whole of Nigeria. And of course, the first to key into the legislation on sexual violence. And he always strives to make Edo first, just like Edo best. Can we give a round of applause for this wonderful, dynamic, first in everything governor? Thank you so much, Your Excellency. And I'd like to also inform His Excellency that online is the Minister of Women Affairs. She's on Zoom with us. Also, the Special Advisor, the Vice President on Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program, Dr. Fatima Waziri, is also on Zoom. Dr. Danla, the National Program Coordinator of ROLAC, is also on Zoom. And our own very dear brother, the former IG Solomon Arase, is right now on Zoom with us since 9 o'clock. Permit me, Your Excellency, to give 1 minute, sir, to the Honorable Commissioner for Health for a very short remark. Your Excellency, sir. Thank you so much. A round of applause for the Honorable Commissioner for Health.
Thank you. My governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, the Executive Governor of Edo State, Your Excellency, our First Lady of Edo State, permit me to stand on all other existing protocols. Let me start by appreciating the Almighty God, our Creator, for making this day a reality. But to God be the glory. Vivian Center is here and it is working. For decades in Edo State, issues of sexual and gender-based violence has been treated with kid gloves, with successive governments paying lip service to the issue. This has resulted in increasing incidences of rape and sexual assaults as no much effort being made towards deterrent. The victims were mostly left at the mercy of God, while the offenders search for their next victim. Today, we can gladly say that it is no longer business as usual. This synergistic collaboration of the 3 key ministries, health, justice, gender and social development, along with the multi-sectorial response team, is here today to put an end to this menace in our society. Today, we have a center in the heart of the state capital. This Vivian Center is situated in a very serene environment, as we see. What else can we ask for? It's just behind the government house. This itself provides some levels of healing to the minds of the victims. This center, which provides quality medical, forensic, psychosocial, legal, and aftercare services to survivors of sexual and gender-based violence, boasts of facilities for psychosocial counseling, medical treatment, even surgical treatment, as well as some recreation that can help ameliorate the physical and psychological trauma associated with sexual and gender-based violence. Your Excellency, sir, since the operations of the Vivian Center commenced 3 months ago, the center has successfully attended to a total of 127 clients. These include both new and returning ones, and all of them had counseling and medical treatment. It's important to also note that about 80% of these clients are below the age of 18 years. Your Excellency, let me use this opportunity to thank our partners, the British Council, ROLAC, the team, very active team, the Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Response Team, my colleagues, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, as well as the Honorable Commissioner for Social Development and Gender Issues, who I have worked with pride. Finally, let me appreciate His Excellency, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, whose vision for Edo State we are all pursuing. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you so much. Can we give a round of applause to Dr. Patrick Okundia, the Honorable Commissioner for Health, Edo State. Please, a round of applause for that wonderful speech. At this juncture, I have the singular honor to invite the people's governor. In fact, they call him the savior of Edo State from the clutches of tigers and the lions. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Mr. Godwin Nogegase Obaseki, as he does the official launch of the sexual offender database and signing of the Edo State Sexual Offender Register for convicted persons into law. Your Excellency, it is time for Her Excellency, the First Lady, to officially cut the ribbon to commission the Vivian Sexual Assault Referral Center.
See, bros, I'm not part of this program. I came with the government. What the government was presenting the award to? Is your call? No, you tell them, they will tell me. See their program. Okay. See, Commissioner of Justice, you know they play with this program. If I can see the man, the woman. He said he don't be from this state. I see, and I think not from this state. So she will be.
The Sexual Offender Register is a documentation of reported, arraigned, or convicted cases of sex violations or abuse. It enables bodies such as schools and hospitals, corporate agencies, and government bodies to conduct background checks, and it will deter sex offenders because they will know their name will be published, affecting their employment and role in society. On the website, you can search for service providers, report a case, check background, view arraigned and convicted cases, browse other states and check for related information. To report a case, 1. Go to the website. 2. Click on Report Incident. 3. Fill in the information and send. To do a background check, 1. Click on Background Check on the top menu. 2. Click on Arraigned Cases or Convicted Cases and a search by name or location. To view all the convicted cases in Nigeria, 1. Go to nsod.naptip.gov.ng. 2. Click on the red button in the middle and view the list. Conducting background checks on convicted sexual offenders will be easy since their information is readily available in the search register, which helps you search convicted cases by name or location. The Edo State Sexual Offender and Service Provider registers. Perpetrators no longer have a place to hide.
Remarks by His Excellency, the Governor of Edo State. Your Excellency, sir.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of Edo State, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, the Chief Judge, who is ably represented, Chairman, Edo State Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Team, led by Professor Yinka Omorugbe, our very special guest of honor, Mrs. Yom Josephine Aneni, Mr. and Mrs. Peter Ogu, parents of late Vivian Ogu, the Chairman, Edo State Assault Referral Committee, Dr. Wilson Akiwu, retired AIG, Reverend Father Stephen Dumbri, Coordinator Vivian Ogu Movement, Reverend Father Fidelis Aredo, ex-director of JD PCI Uromi, Chairman, Nigerian Bar Association Benin Branch, the Lion Bar, Pius Oliwo Esquire, all stakeholders who are here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am sure you all agree with me that history is being made today as we formally launch the first Sexual Assault Referral Center, SAC, which we have named the Vivian Center to immortalize the name of Vivian Ogu, who unfortunately lost her life over a decade ago in having been sexually abused. I'm very grateful to God and to the Catholic Church, because a couple of months ago I was privileged to be at a service to begin the process of canonizing Vivian Ogu in Edo State. We thank God that we have the opportunity as a government to do our own little contribution to immortalize this young lady and what she stood for. We are also grateful to God that this facility was built by the late Samuel Ogbomudia almost 40 years ago, and we have been able to put it to this type of use for today, for the issues of today. When he built it many years ago as Ogbe Nursing Home, little did he know that almost 4 or 5 decades later, it will have such relevance to the crisis we face in our society today. I want to also say it's a privilege to have formally and officially signed and opened the register on sexual offenders, the sexual offender database, and to remark that for us as a government, except you have deterrence, except there is punishment, you cannot reduce certain crimes in our society. And unfortunately, with technology today, we should be able to undertake a lot of investigations. We should be able to accelerate the pace of investigation so that we can prosecute and get convictions for these offenses. But unfortunately, it's human beings that still need to man, whatever technologies we have. So I'm using this opportunity to appeal to prosecutors, to appeal to the judges that they should prioritize cases that relate to sexual offenders. I also want to use this opportunity to plead, because if you look at the data today, if you just do an analysis of the number of cases we have, 70% of those cases are under investigation. We would like to have more convictions so that we send a very strong message and strong signal that we will not tolerate cases of sexual offenders in Edo State, particularly rape. I also want to use this opportunity to advise that this is, even though this center has been a brainchild of government, for sustainability, we should put in place a governance structure with other stakeholders to ensure that it is properly managed and sustained. Government will continue to support financially, but it should not be treated exclusively as a government agency. We would like to see more CSOs, more NGOs participate to support this center so that it should, in case it needs to be expanded, in case a bit more research needs to be done, it is open for such users. I want to assure the world that Edo State will do everything that it's in its powers. We've invested in forensics. We've committed our resources to ensure that we not only apprehend but get conviction for all of those who were involved in the gruesome murder of Uwaila Omozua. We've made significant progress, and as governor, it's a case that I am personally interested in, and will make sure that by the grace of God, the offenders are brought to book. So on that note, I want to congratulate all of you, the Attorney General, Professor Yinka Omorogbe, retired AIG Akiwu, and all, I saw her, the people who are directly involved, and all the commissioners, and the other agencies, ROLAC, the European Union, the British Council, and not forgetting the Minister for Women Affairs, who showed special interests, and other commissioners in the affiliated ministries who worked collaboratively to put this center and this register in place. I want to thank you and to assure you that as a government, we will continue to do our own bit to ensure that we reduce the incidence of such terrible crimes, like of crimes against women and children. Once again, thank you very much.
Let's do a very, very applauding round of applause for the great governor, His Excellency Mr. Godwin Nogegase Obaseki. Permit me, Your Excellency, to welcome to this gathering Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Matthew Isaac Moriodion Urugidi, representing Edo South Senatorial District at the National Assembly. Thank you so much for coming, sir.
Thank you very much. The way you can see.
The register is a documentation of reported, arraigned, or convicted cases of sex violations or abuse. It enables bodies such as schools and hospitals, corporate agencies, and government bodies to conduct background checks, and it will deter sex offenders because they will know their names will be published, affecting their role in society. On the website, you can search for service providers, report a case, check background, view arraigned and convicted cases, browse other states and check for related information. To report a case, 1. Go to click on Report Incident. 3. Fill in the information and send. To do a background check, 1. Click on Background Check on the top menu. 2. Click on Arraigned Cases or Convicted Cases and a search by name or location. To view all the convicted cases in Nigeria, 1. Go to nsod.naptip.gov.ng. 2. Click on the red button in the middle and view the list. Conducting background checks on convicted sexual offenders will be easy since their information is readily available in the search register, which helps you search convicted cases by name or location. The Edo State Sexual Offender and Service Provider Registers.
The Director of the Vivianogo Movement, Catholic Adults of Benin City.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Hello all. Hello all. Okay, so we have the directory coming up now to show to you that the Ministry of Justice is already working. Some of our convicts have already been uploaded because some persons are still here. I remembered in March, someone quoted that the whole of Nigeria is only 17 convicted cases, and we told them it is a lie. That in Akoko Edo alone, we already had about 13 as at that time. We've not added for Edo State. So you can't say for Nigeria it is 17. But why will people be able to make such claims? Because they can't have a place to actually go to. And that's why this registrar is very... So you can see on Mokafe Matthew, he was convicted year 2020. And you see the number of years. That's Sunday Akpeji, convicted year 2020. And their punishment is there, 21 years imprisonment for Jacob Alonge. Akande Yesufu, convicted this year, 14 years imprisonment. You know, over the years, we used to see cases of conviction where the convict have 2 months. 2 months in prison, and then they add what? An option of what? Or fine. 100,000 naira option of fine for 2 months in prison. So the person can even decide to pay the fine right there in the court on the day of conviction, and is what? Is back home. And then all the police and the prosecutors that worked on the case and all the NGOs, you see our anger at that point. So you can see, that's Ojo Ada. Omokafe Matthew, 14 years imprisonment. This year also, 9 years imprisonment for Sunday Akpeji. I'm sure most of you know the Jacob Alonge story. Akande Yesufu has 14 years. God J. Jato has 7 years imprisonment. Now, a lot of persons will be asking, beyond here, how can we have access to this? So one of the reasons why you have the register is for you also, that you live in Aduwawa. When somebody has been convicted in Igara and relocates to your area, and then you begin to hear, I be like, say that brother, they touch our children anyhow. Brother come my house today. They call my pikin in wife. You know, we've moved beyond that regime. A man that's old enough to give birth to a 3-year-old child should call the girl child my what? my daughter, not my wife. So when an adult male comes to your house and begin to call your minor children my wife or my babe instead of my daughter, begin to have sexual grooming alerts on your head. So that is why this register is very important. Thank you so much.
Just stepping in is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, Oluwole Iyamu, SAN. Thank you so much. We are honored to have you with us. Just as a reminder, today's event is the launching of the Sexual Offender and Service Provider Database, which is of 2 sessions actually. The registers are, one, the Sexual Offender Register, where you can have a detailed list of those. That's what we've been showing you, this detailed list of those who have sexually assaulted people and persons. And then the other one is the Service Provider Register 1 and 2. So you can actually get, we've been running the handle, you can get online and have access to it. Reverend Father Stephen Dumbiri, Director of Vivian Ogu Movement. You know Vivian Ogu, to which this center is named after. It's here, and he will be speaking to us shortly, to make some more clarifications concerning the movement. A round of applause, please. Thank you.
The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Edo State, Professor Yinka Omorogbe, other dignitaries here present. It is a great joy for the Catholic Archdiocese of Benin City to witness this event of the naming of this center after our own daughter, Vivian Ogu. Just as the governor has said during the commissioning, that the Catholic Church has promoted the virtues of Vivian Ogu for the past 10 years. Vivian Ogu was murdered on the 15th of November 2009 for resisting sexual assault, resisting rape. So she was actually not raped. She was killed because she refused to be raped. And the significance of the heroism of Vivian to this center is the assurance it gives to victims that when they are in circumstances that will lead to their assault, they should have the strong will to resist. And even if that resistance does not amount to total freedom at that particular point in time, they should have the hope that at the end of the assault, the state government is behind them, the federal government is behind them. This message will serve as a source of courage to our guests and even our boys who are being assaulted, that they are not alone. The virtue of Vivian stands out in the sense that at the age of 14, she was able to stand out among other guests, preaching against sexual assault, encouraging other guests to stand up and defend their virginity and purity. And God gave her the opportunity of witnessing to what she preached all her life, even at the age of 14. And just as His Excellency made the remark during the opening. The Holy Father, Pope Francis, already received the report of the heroic virtue of Vivian, and in October last year, 2019, the Holy Father decreed that the story of Vivian be celebrated among other saints all over the world in October 2019. That is a great plus for Edo State. And that same last year, the Holy Father sent his representative to the ground where Vivian was killed. And the executive governor was also there to make his own remark. So we are proud to associate with this event, and we are hoping that the establishment of this center will bring courage to our young girls who face assault every day. Thank you, Honorable Minister, Honorable Commissioner. Thank you, the Executive Governor of Edo State.
Thank you, Father. Thank you so much. I want to also thank you for your patience. Father Fidelis Aredo, JDPC, is here, and he would like to say one or two things. Please. Is that you?
No, yes, it's me.
Oh, sorry.
The Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Edo State, Professor Yinka Morebe, all the ministers here and commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very privileged to stand here. But I'm here today, first and foremost, to just thank the Honorable Commissioner for supporting our pride in JDPC. This fight of protecting our daughters and our mothers from being assaulted and raped, sometimes foreign biblical injection that talk about the mercifulness of God and justice of God, we see a link between justice and mercy. Although God has to forgive every sin, but the sin of rape and defilement is not sin that we should cover up. We should be able to talk and speak out. And the church I belong to, the Catholic Church, will never cover up the sin of rape, will never be involved. So that reason, I'm indeed very glad and privileged to have met the Honorable Commissioner when cases like this that we have been handling, especially in Edo Central Secretariat District, when I called upon Honorable Commissioner and to the General of the State will take it up. Because most cases, the high profile and dignity, when they are involved, they sweep to sweep this thing under carpet. And sometimes the police, the Noah Kader, often not cooperating with us. But anytime we report this case, they work with us. But I'm begging everyone here today, as we all gather here, that issues of rape, defilement of children, should not be issues that we concede in our family. We should fight for them. We should fight for them and protect them. Because we are their eyes, we are their hand. We should speak out. We should protect these children from being raped. And I happen to major as a counselor from Britannia University. I know the effect, or traumatic effect, or stress disorder such children go through after being raped for life. So we must come out and join this, just what happened today, that the Edo State government is taking up. All of us should be part of this movement to save our children, our women, and our boys from being raped. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Father. Thank you so much. I mentioned earlier that we have the parents of Vivian, Mr. Peter Vivian, Mr. and Mrs. Peter, and the person to which this place is named after. He just wants to say one or two words. Just 1 minute, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, the MC. The Commissioner, Sister Yinka, distinguished brothers and sisters in Christ, permit me to continue on the existing protocol. I will not hesitate to thank all of you for this laudable project. And it is timely, especially at this time. We are almost living in an evil world, embarrassment, and different kinds of embarrassing news. It is timely. And I must not also fail to eulogize His Excellency, for this wonderful project. Just as he said, some months ago, he attended the 10th year anniversary of Vivian. On that ground, he expressed his willingness to partner with the church to immortalize Vivian. And that's what has been demonstrated. It's part of it that has been demonstrated here today. I want to thank God for his life. And this project is opportunity to encourage especially our younger ones, the youths, that though Vivian is no more, but her name is being mentioned all the time, every day. Even to us, everywhere, these are the parents of Vivian. People want to see us, they want to hear from us. It's a good thing for us to stand, a challenge for us to live a good life, a selfless life, living our life for Christ. It's a good thing. I pray that this project will be properly used for mankind, to serve the purpose it is meant for. I want to thank God for everything, especially the committee, for the inspiration, the initiative to embark on this project. Without much delay, I appreciate the government, appreciate the commissioner and the stakeholders for a work well done. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We salute your courage. We did say earlier that for Edo State, it is a zero tolerance, and we're going to attack it robustly. I would like to call on Mrs. Charity Ebosele, I think the coordinator. She has just 1 minute remark to make.
Good afternoon, my Honorable Attorney General, Commissioner for Justice, Professor Ikari Morogbe, Mrs. Edeko Mari, Commissioner for Social Development and Gender Issues, my very amiable Chairman for the SAC Management Committee, Dr. Wilson Akiwu, AIG, retired but not tired, and my humble Reverend Fathers. And I want to plead to stand on the already existing protocol. As the coordinator of Edo State Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Response Team, I wish to encourage each and every one of us here to kindly always make use of our social media. @ Edo Sexual Offender Register, nowhere to hide, no more secrets, shame the perpetrators, #Uwa story, #her story, our story NG. Please, this is just to make and raise awareness amongst us on the issue we are all talking about this morning, which is SGVROT, SGVRO v sexual and gender-based violence in Edo State. By doing this, we encourage everybody to get into social media and keep tagging on our Twitter windows, so that this message will go down to everybody around us. And we want to tell the perpetrators out there that it's no longer business as usual, and we should discourage them and encourage our girls to be up and doing and never be scared. They should also learn to speak out anytime they are being violated, so that justice will take its course. Thank you.
We're going to take the vote of thanks from the Honorable Commissioner for Social Development and Gender Issues, Honorable Mari Edeko. A round of applause, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Attorney General, NAPTIP, the Commandant, Reverend Father, the DPP, great women lawyers. I saw the NBA chairman, the NGO, the Civil Liberty Organization, ROLAC. My job is simple, to say thank you. So, thank you. Thank you, everyone. But I'll make few remarks as I say thank you. I thank His Excellency, Mr. Godwin Oregase Obaseki, for providing the enabling environment. If we look at it, things have changed in Edo State. At the classical era, we used to talk only about the offender, the person that have committed crime. Nobody talks about succor for victims or survivors of crime. Today, human rights have been infused into the justice sector. And that is what makes the difference. So we are grateful to His Excellency. He's a contemporary governor, a man of the moment. The European Union, the British Council, ROLAC, Melissa, we are grateful to you all. And that should serve as something that should worry us as a people. If human beings that don't live on this side of the globe, they care about our welfare, why is it that we don't care about ourselves? All we think about always is money. And it's a big problem for us as a people. So, we are very grateful to all the international donors. I can see our Edo State's mother, Madam Ene. You could see Josephine Iyomaneni. She's been here, even as elderly as she is. She takes interest in what happened to us as a people. So, we are grateful to her. NAPTIP, we are very grateful. We owe a debt of gratitude to the staff of Ministry of Health, Ministry of Justice, and Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issues. The police, we are very grateful. NGOs, we are grateful. Civil societies, we are grateful. Because sometimes when cases are referred to my ministry, the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issue, the aspect of the job for the ministry is to provide support for the victim or the survivor, psychosocial support. The justice sector, the police, they need to prosecute, they need to investigate. Having the sexual assault referral center, 50% of our problem will be solved. But it can only be solved if every stakeholder do what they should do. Because as of today, we are still having lots of problems with investigation. Poor investigation, there is little or nothing the lawyers can do. We don't need to fight ourselves. We need to collaborate. And repeatedly, the police, the police, the police, we are repeating it. So it means there is a problem with investigation. We appeal to the Commissioner for Police. We need the presence of a desk officer here as a police for investigation. Because we are having problems at the family unit. I am not a person that shy away from reality. We have cases today that are being investigated. We are having challenges. So we appeal to the police authority that something must be done if the dream of the SAC Center must be realized. Also,
crime and sin. A priest can forgive you your sin. It does not mean that the crime you have committed, that the state should not punish you. Because there is punishment for sinful people. And so when people come begging, forgive me for raping a person, for defiling a child, I have problem with that. I am not so merciful. And I think the police should not be that merciful. Yours is to investigate, the Justice Department, the court will prosecute. Ours is to provide support, rehabilitation, follow-up for the victim, while the health sector will treat the victim. So we are grateful to everybody. We thank you. We need all the support. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, everyone. Gentlemen of the press, we are grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're just going to take the national anthem and then the group photographs. Thank you so much for your patience. We are very grateful. Can we just go over to... Oh, they are coming.
All rise, all compatriots, Nigerians come of age to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes was journeyed on in to serve with heart and voice. One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
To eliminate all forms of violence against women and girls.
Young girls should be in school, so we must strive to end child marriage.
Women's rights are human rights.
I believe that gender-based violence must stop. Full stop.
To end violence against women and girls, we must end gender inequality and discrimination.
We can no longer watch in silence. The time to take action is now.
We must all come together with one voice to end gender-based violence.
I think we all need to raise the awareness around domestic violence, child abuse, and sexual assault. I believe
Ministry of Women Affairs and other.
His offer is generous. Think of what this will do for your family in this COVID-19 time. You know he didn't mean it.
He did not mean it. The 13 slaps that he showered on me before he pushed me down, he did not mean to tear off my dress. Where were you when he was threatening my life? Where are you now, trying to silence me with money? If the chance is that your daughters will be in my position, I ask you, where will you be then?
We must take responsibility to ensure that the women in our lives feel safe, valued, and secured everywhere. There must be no sacred cows in the protection of our vulnerable ones.
This message is from Women's Right Advancement and Protection Alternative in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and other partners, with support from MacArthur Foundation.
His offer is generous. Think of what this will do for your family in this COVID-19 time. You know he didn't mean it.
He did not mean it. The 13 slaps that he showered on me before he pushed me down, he did not mean to tear off my dress. Where were you when he was threatening my life? Where are you now, trying to silence me with money? If the chance is